Yes, the consent calendar for this December 16th. The first item has been continued, so we go on to C2, La Paloma, 4441 La Paloma Avenue. One rostro addition. Is Amy Taylor here?
Hi.
Oh, hi, Amy. Let's have, let's go to page 11, the elevations. I think that's the most relevant for us.
Yes.
Yeah, again, it seems like everything's fine. And let's see,
We made one minor change to the southeast corner roof line. It shows up on the east elevation and south elevation. I eliminated the hip roof at the back of the house for a gable in the master bedroom due to structural reasons.
looks good. Looks good. I have a question on 15. Let's go to page 15, the details. You have some recessed windows and others do not. Is that because they have 2x4 walls? Is that what the issue is?
Yes, I have a 2x4 and a 2x6 wall detail.
Okay. And you can use a 2x3 if you want to recess it more instead of a 2x4 for the on the recessed windows. If you choose, I suggested it's if you a bigger recess and cost the same thing, that doesn't cost any more. Anyway, just a suggestion.
Mhm.
We have exterior fixtures on page 16 right here. Are these night sky compliant? Which one goes outside? All of them?
These are, so the first one is in the covered entry.
Mhm.
So it's under a roof. No, above it.
That one there.
That one, that's at the covered entry under a roof.
But you're supposed to cast the light down, or at least
We discussed this at another meeting. This is under a roof cover, so it's not it's not affecting dark sky.
I see. Okay. All right. Then the other pages are the landscape. KD like 16, I think it is.
Mhm.
No, in 1920, skylight. I mean,
So Amy, we can approve it on SBAR, but you will have to do your irrigation, your WELO calculations, I think, when you get to building and safety.
They're already done.
Oh, what sheet are they on? I'm not seeing them on there.
You're not?
I might have missed them.
Well, I've had them on there at previous meetings.
No, I was looking at the wrong sheet. They're the sheet before the, I found them. Sorry, Amy.
Okay.
all right. So I think we're good. That
Okay.
And you had the color board as well.
you okay with the landscape, Katie?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. Good. So we'll approve it at the.
Amy, do you have any landscape lighting proposed?
No. Okay, thank you.
Welcome. So next we have item numbers. Where are we? C3, the 2121 Summerland Heights, the Procor deck. Do we have an applicant here?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. Okay, great. So I was looking at it. Looks like you did the back porch like we suggested, and just have a question with that. It's on page, let's see, you'll see the elevations on page, what is it? 14, no, we have. I go to page 6 and 7 actually, 6 and 7. Okay, there you go. That's the side, and the other one is the front. There's one more. There's one more, right? Let's see. No, where is the front? The back of the house. Oh, it's on page 5, right?
No, you want to go down further, Alex.
Yeah. I saw it before. Where is it? It's on. Is it on 7?
What are you looking?
South elevation.
Yes. Oh, here it's on 5. There, 5. Okay, there we go. I just have a question. It looks great from the south. Now on the side elevations, like the next page, for instance, it looks a little bit skinny. The member that supports the corner. Do you mind thicken it or having a return, or does it block your views, or what's your thinking there?
The thinking was that this is the rear of their house and it's their ocean view side. And so we're really trying to block as little of their view as possible.
Okay, all right, very good. And we have the colors here, right? So,
All the colors will match what's existing. So on our cover sheet, we have photographs that show what the colors of the existing house are.
okay, very good. So yeah, it's ready to go. Okay, so we'll approve it. There's no landscape involved, and so we'll approve it at the meeting.
To share that. Thank you, Alex.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next is the Burke edition, item number 4. Here, let's see. Good morning. So C4, where is C4? Yeah, okay. We had no questions last time, no issues, and seems fine. So this is ready to go. Change. No, that's the critical question. Have you changed anything? No, that's the perfect answer. What did you say? Okay, all right, that's good to go. Okay. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. And C5 was continued, it was appealed and continued, and C6, we have the Kate School Track and Sports Field. Do we have an applicant here?
Sam Maphis, landscape architect, I'm here.
And also Eric Jennings, Byron Davey, the design build entity.
Very good. We had no issues last time, and so I guess we look at the landscape details, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just look really quick, make sure it's
I
fine.
don't think we're gonna look much into the bleachers.
No, they're not loading on my end. So are you?
Yes, it's a big file. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big file. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not loading on this one.
Their color, they might be big files, but
Sam, do you know what sheet? So I could go straight there and maybe it won't load the whole thing.
well, they would be the L sheets. I'm not sure. L1, 2, 3. There's not many. There's probably about 3 or 4, probably in the back of the set.
That's where I went.
I don't have a hard copy in front of me, but
I think they're slowly loading.
Yeah, it's still loading.
Thanks,
So if
Sam.
you were to,
We'll
Has
see.
anything changed since the last time we saw it, Sam?
There were no issues. I think we're just following up with, of course, the more final set.
Mhm. Okay. It's almost loaded. Let me just. Be like sheet 13 and, well, probably 11, 12, 13, David.
Yeah, I don't know your numbers. We have L1, probably L2 is a hydrozone. L2.1 is the irrigation schematic. There you go.
The-
Right. So,
I think that's the layout plan.
it's trying to load. Okay, Sam, I think they're there.
Yeah, so that's just the layout plan showing you kind of the mulch areas and some of the planting. Then you've got the landscape plan, which is L2.
There we go. Yep, we're there. Mhm.
So we're just using a lot of native plants to kind of meet the theme of what Kate School is all about. We're using some toyon underneath the eucalyptus on the south by the grandstands to hide and screen the back of the new seating area. And then we're just tying in and feathering in around the track where we need to with some new oak trees on the east side. A lot of native planting, again, to kind of follow the theme.
Okay. Yeah, looks good.
The details are on L2.2, irrigation details showing drip manifolds and the point of connections, and of course, all the specifics.
Yep, looks good.
Okay.
So, all right, we're good to go. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Have a happy holiday season.
You too.
Take care. I think that concludes the consent calendar, right? So we'll take a recess until the rest of the team shows up.
Eric? Yeah, hi. It's done. Okay, well, the ratified stuff, sometimes I just wait, but that's fine. I mean,
Okay, so we have quorum. So, okay, well, so we'll now call to order the SFAR meeting of December 16th, 2022, starting with item number 1, which is public comment. If there's anyone from the public who'd like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda for today, then please just step forward or raise your hand. And if you're on the phone, it's *9. And I do have 2 speaker slips here. And beginning with, is it Tal Fan? We need to grab you one of these microphones. So give us a second, then you'll have a few minutes. David, we need to give her a mic.
Oh, sorry.
So here you go.
Thank you.
So 2 minutes whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for allowing me this talk. Again, my name is Tal Fan, and my husband, Max Liskin, and I live in Hope Ranch, next door to 4121 Cresciente Drive, which is to the west of 4121. I'd like to use my time today to actually hand out some materials that was provided earlier this week. Thank you so much. So this material was sent to SFAR early this week, and it's also posted on the website as well. And I'd like to offer the remainder of my time for you to review it in case you haven't had time to review it. Thank you. And my husband, Max Liskin, will comment on it.
So it's a little bit long, but it appears that you talk about some misrepresentation of comments. Is that it?
That's correct. And my husband, Max Liskin, will comment on it. May he approach this time? Okay, great. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, this ground one.
This one?
No, it's like right there on the top. That's the mic.
Yeah, that's the mic. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do my best. So I'm here today because of the project next door to our home. We live at 4125 Cresciente. The project next door is the Low Project 4121 Cresciente. Minutes were presented on 12/2. And they were amended, and they were amended incorrectly. You don't have to take my word for it. You can review all the YouTube videos with all the recording of all the statements. The bottom line is that, number one, no specification was made by the board that 1 to 2 feet in a reduction of the west side of their project was sufficient. In fact, what was suggested and discussed was a 2-foot reduction in each plate height and reduction of the pad if possible. And that was done in one of the first meetings, which is recorded in a YouTube video. This is the most important part of the project to us, the height of it. And to take a couple minutes, a review of the minutes, and wipe out all the hard work we did to educate you was something which I felt very unfortunate. So our attorney gave you all the information that you can validate if you go to YouTube videos. The other aspect of this is process. And I don't understand, but I'd like to bring to your attention, we have come to every single SBAR meeting. There was no notice of the email being sent to SBAR. Maybe that would have been in public comments, like we provided this with public comments. So we'd have the opportunity to come here and be aware of the guidance you may or may not give. And given that this was closed, it was concluded that it would be conceptual and it would move past this board. I wanted to make sure that the record properly reflected the fact that 1 to 2 feet wasn't agreed on for the benefit of us, excuse me, if I may, and for the benefit of the applicant, because this is what's going to be relied upon and presented. It's your minutes, it's your record, and it's not correct. And you don't have to take my word for it. It's on the YouTube videos. Thank you.
Sir. All right. So where do we go with that?
So what we can do if you'd like to drop the mic. If you'd like to reconsider the minutes, is this something, not something that you can take action on today, regardless of which way you wanted to go?
Not something, or it is something?
It's not on today's agenda, so you can't take action today. So if you want to readdress the minutes, you just direct staff to put them on the next agenda and you could consider them then.
Okay, I think we should do that because you know, I mean, I had strong feelings about the height of this project, and we had a lengthy conversation about it as well. And so I think I would like the rest of the board to weigh in also. So please, you know, have staff put it on the agenda for next time, and that would be during
January 6th.
January 6th. And during which portion?
Say, just with the other minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we reopen the minutes from
Reopen the
previous.
minutes,
Okay. And I guess we should also inform the architect and the planner.
Well, that's why it's getting agenda.
Yeah, they'll get notice, right? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think it should be just noted that every meeting we have, the following meeting, we ratify the minutes. So the public, the applicants, they're entitled to come listen to that hearing of the minutes and make public comment on it and direct any inconsistencies or make any notation of any specific, you know, wording or discrepancy. That's why we publish it. That's why ratified. So, you know, if this continues, and you want to participate in making sure that the minutes are as accurate as possible, you're always welcome to come to that section of the discussion at the beginning of our meetings and participate in that, so that we don't have to come back later to do it. But
I apologize. I didn't know that. I just appreciate the fact that we'll look at it once again.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the date you just said, because I'm happy. that
January
we did it
6th.
Again, but have great holidays.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's January 6th.
So, so we know, like, how do we do that? I mean, it has to be some kind of a review the tapes or review the, can we have some help from staff? Seeing that if there is a, you know what I'm saying, like, otherwise, I'm not sure what we're gonna say in the next mistakes. Seems like it's,
Are
seems
you
like,
able to send us a YouTube video of just that portion of the meeting?
just go
I can do it and give you the timestamp.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good, because we should all maybe review
yeah, we need, when I have to, you know,
the review, yeah.
and also the and David, also the minutes, the official, what we're supposed to endorse and
Right.
what we said, so we can compare both. Great,
Okay.
thank you.
We should copy
That will
all
make,
that.
that will make it easier.
Okay, so is there any other public comment on an item that's not on the agenda for today? Okay. Moving on to item number 2, the agenda status report.
All right, we actually do have a change to today's agenda. Item C1, the applicant was not quite ready, so we're asking for continuance to January 6th meeting. Item C5, as you may recall, the board took preliminary preliminary approval at your last meeting. That action has been since appealed this week, so we need to take that off the agenda until that issue is resolved. And item number 6, the applicant, after some, I believe, some feedback from their planner, they have to redesign their project. It's a brand new project. So we're asking for continuance to the January 20th meeting, and we may have to notice that, just depending on how the project description changes.
Okay,
We need a motion to continue item 6 or to approve the revised agenda, I guess. Is that it?
You can just adopt what staff, usually you can adopt
Okay.
what staff said.
Whatever David said.
I'll second whatever David said.
okay, all those in favor, what David said.
Hi.
David's great.
Put in the minutes, Alex.
Is that the minutes?
Okay, item 3, the minutes from December 2nd. Yeah, I'm gonna run out to my car and get my glasses though anyway.
Would you go to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, back to the gallo deck, didn't we note, did we just say provide details for hardy panel, or did we say it was not acceptable to just have
Which one's that?
flat hardy panel?
What number?
For the gallo deck, item 1. I recall that we had a comment to like show trim details.
Yeah. Right. See what he had is completely, it's just a flat panel and
One panel with
flat bats, like vertical.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so provide trim details for hardy,
Yeah.
trim details for hardy pan, or
or board and bat and
okay,
trim
I don't-
details.
we didn't say, but we said, yeah, we did ask him to add.
Provide board and bat details for hardy panel.
And trim, board and bat and trim
Very good.
details.
Yeah.
On item B, on item 1B, provide details for hardy panel. Hardy is a company, it should have a capital H and in parentheses to define that it's a proprietary product.
I think that you could amend the note to say cement fiberboard panel.
Provide board and bat trim and details for cement board panel.
Yeah,
Okay.
that way you wouldn't have to deal with that.
Okay. I think 3 has important comments. And
Yeah, it
pictures here.
seems pretty good.
Very nice. Yeah.
Okay, we're on over 3.
3.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I think on J, on I will just clarify it a little bit. Remove trees from elevations to show the
Building
architect.
forms.
Yeah, to show building forms.
How about remove any vegetation that obstructs the,
Architectural forms.
yeah, the architectural forms.
All right,
They're
very,
becoming more and more common.
Yeah,
It's not just trees either, so.
yeah, it's very good. It's a very good technique.
Yeah, right.
Why we should find people that know.
What a concept.
You start.
Okay, let's go to 4 now. Yeah.
There should be a thing called landscape.
Well, on 4,
Would be a good idea.
B, it says add in some trees. I delete the word in. Add some trees and foundations.
or just, yeah, add to.
Instead of some, you take the word some because it seems insulting to a landscape architect. Put some trees over there.
Just remove in and
Well
so.
placed and expertly designed. Is what we're looking for.
What does C mean?
Well placed.
Enhance existing living space. Is that?
Beautifully
Integrated.
Represents a significant remodel, so any opportunities to enhance existing. Is that exterior in the living spaces? Item C,
No, I think that was a comment that was more to the interior, but it's not really,
but we don't
we don't really,
worry about that.
I think, I agree that it should be removed. I mean, we probably said that, but it's a comment that is confusing.
Well, unless it's, I think it relates to exterior, actually, the way the
No,
building relates to its exterior.
My recollection is maybe this was a comment of yours, Valerie, and maybe I didn't capture it right, but I think you were commenting that the project was pretty significant, and I think they were trying to maybe not touch portions of the house or something like that. And I think it was something about wanting or having them just study, like, since they're going through such a big project, they might as well try to improve some of the existing condition.
I think that conversation kind of shifted into the use of mission tile. And we talked about that, and then we discarded it as being, really complicated and not, it would not work on the project. Remember that? I think that was the.
Yeah,
Want me to just remove it?
I think just remove it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the one where I said you're gonna end up tearing down the house,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you might as well make it right, because that's what's gonna happen.
They'll decide. Okay.
5C, they said the same thing. Elevations unobstructed by vegetation. It seems to be a trend.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. 6. Okay.
It's fine.
We want to be more specific about the entry. We study entries quite vague. Remember exactly what that means. Is there some kind of an element? Like,
I don't remember.
enhanced entry design or something. Okay, I guess we'll just leave it.
Well, it's just an inconvenient place to put it.
The location of the entry, is that what it
Yeah.
was?
No, I forgot.
Sort of on the side of the house, which is not apparent from the driveway.
Yeah, I think.
So restudy entry location.
Prominence, maybe?
Consider, yeah, prominence is good, or look, consider new location for entry to make it more prominent.
This is on 6E.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember exactly how it was. I'm a little bit foggy there, I'm sorry.
Okay. So it seems like John remembers.
Yeah.
So did you get that comment? Consider location of entry to make it more prominent.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 7.
Okay, 7 is fine. And, 8 is fine. Which, by the way, it's been appealed, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, 9. What does B mean, 9B? What is bunkering? Bunkering means like.
It was like a lot of it was underground.
Underground, remember?
I see.
A huge portion of it
I
was
see, I
underground.
see, okay.
Roof chairs.
Yeah, now I remember. That.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's very, very wide
yeah,
across the top.
yeah.
Mountain.
I think on C, it is the, I think one comment that I'm not sure if it's here is the idea that all those straight lines, somebody made the comment that
That's in D.
as in this, here.
Yeah, Pierce
along,
Industrial.
yeah, there it is, okay.
Mhm.
I will make it a little bit
Oh.
stronger, a straight lines period, and then study, I mean, is soft, I would like it a little bit stronger, soften, design to appear more organic for that.
Yeah.
Study opportunities that seems so wishy-washy.
And then on H, need more detailed site sections. We talked about cutting across the width of the building and clearly showing what's happening with the grading and
Down the slope.
down the slope. So need more detailed site sections, including
Jason Hillside.
adjacent hillside
It's
in
plural.
larger scale too. I mean, you know, if it's,
Yeah, we have
You
that.
can't-
Well, we have it on J, increases to the site plan scale,
yeah,
but maybe all
site plan and site section
increase,
on J.
right? Increase scale of site plan and sections and really anything that's not proper scale.
Yeah. So Alex, did that make sense? What we-
Says project well integrated by hunkering into the site. By
Bunkering.
recessing,
It's bunkering, not hunkering.
well, bunkering.
Yeah.
It's still,
It's a funny word.
how about recessing it into the site?
Nestling it.
Come on,
What?
guys, this is not,
Yeah. you get the idea.
Is bunkering okay?
It's fine.
yeah,
I mean,
Sort of
it-
sounds like a World War I
well,
term.
Well,
you
it
kind of
is.
have that feeling
because it's,
because it's huge in the hillside.
and it's under.
Yeah.
Okay, so for H, I have need more detailed site sections, including adjacent hillside. Was there anything else you wanted to clarify on that?
Well, I guess sidewall heights would be included in that one.
Or two.
That's all right.
It's not like-
And then the A, increase the scale of the site plan and site sections.
Yep.
All right,
With that, I make a motion to approve the amended minutes.
Second,
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Moving on, item number 4, SBAR members informational briefings. I have to step down from item 10 today, which is the last item. Anyone else? have anything?
I just need to disclose that I was consulted by the applicant on number 4.
Very good. That's it. Okay, item number 5, staff update. Alex,
I don't think I have anything today. If people are interested, the Summerlin gas station sign appeal was considered by the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. You might recall that project.
We do?
Yeah.
The Board of Supervisors approved the sign.
Is that the one on the chimney or the one on the side of the wall?
Well,
The one on the rear of the building facing the freeway.
The freeway, yeah. Okay.
The chimney sign was removed as part of the project. So it's, yeah, the main contention was with the rear wall sign. They will be coming in at some point with the pole sign for the signage. So that will be coming back to your board at some point in the future.
Oh, and what happened to the chimney? I remember the intent was to raise, they raised the chimney a few feet in order to put a sign there. And then the sign was considered not provable for, right? And so what happened to the chimney? I mean, there was a hole in there, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of the package that comes to you all to figure out a better plan for that, if anything.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. So the consent agenda.
Oh, yes. Okay, so is C, hold on a second, let me get it correctly. C2, C3, and C4, and C6 were approved, submitted with no changes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Moving on then to the standard agenda for today, beginning with item number 1. And actually, before I begin, I know that it's hard to hear in this room, so if you all want, you can come forward closer and stand in front of us, or sit up in here if you want to, although the architect will probably be up there as well. So you're able to come forward if you want to. I know it's hard to hear. So
quick question, is everyone there today, or is anyone missing?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Morning.
Okay, item 1, Tatman New Residence A, request of Kevin Moore, agent for Taylor Tatman, for further conceptual review of a new residence of 3,981 square feet with an attached garage and 80 linear feet of retaining walls on a vacant parcel, 64 cubic yards of cut and 1,033 yards of filled. It's a 0.2 acre parcel located at 1189 Edgemount Drive in Mission Canyon area. Last heard November 4th. And we have the applicant here. Please state your names for the record.
Kevin Moore, architect for the owner. Taylor Tatman, owner.
Okay, there's many comments. Do you want me to read through those, or do you want to take them one by one, or what do you think is the best way to?
If it's helpful, if you want to just show those on the screen so everyone can refresh their memories, maybe, or.
Oh, the comments. Can we do that, David? Do we have that capability? And maybe I'll just read through them quickly too, because they're not that long really. So comment A, project has improved from initial submittal. Architectural style is appropriate. Some members believe size, bulk, and scale should be further reduced. Consider flat roof over garage to lower profile. Study possibility of lowering the garage to reduce fill and need for tall retaining walls. Continue to study ways to soften lower level and have it blend better in with the site. Consider different material for understory. Extend sections to property lines and capture adjacent development. Show adjacent development on project plans. Show both projects in 3D renderings. Show profile view of project from below to show site context. Provide slope and grading analysis and site visit with story poles required. So Kevin, I'll turn it over to you for 10 minutes or so to present how things have changed.
Okay, thank you very much. So most of us were there this morning to view the story pole installation. We also included this image here, which we think is helpful for everyone to see how both projects fit into the existing context 3-dimensionally. Prior, we had a site plan that showed our relative footprint relative to the houses surrounding it, but now we have this in 3 dimensions. So we have parcel 1 is here, then parcel 2 kind of extends way down here and up like that. So we start with parcel 1, and we can see that it's relative to its neighbors. We've tried to nestle it into the hillside as much as we can. We've tried to use muted natural colors, so it also recedes into the landscape and hillside. We've also tried to reduce the understory to the extent we can. And you'll see that, as with any hillside house, that's an issue for everybody when they're designing. So this is the kind of the typical issue that people run into and have to tackle. We could move on to the drawing set, please. Okay, so here's parcel 1. So as you recall, the street we were standing up here this morning looking down at these sites. The garage is really the only element that's going to be visible from the street. Everything else has to step down the slope, and we'll get into that once we look at the elevations, if we could. Planning staff came back with some additional height requirements. They felt we weren't meeting the intent of the ordinance, which is required a little bit of a shift to the design. So if we could switch down to the floor plans, please. Story pole plan, continue, keep going. There we go. So what that interpretation of the ordinance has done is required us to try and tuck more of the house into a single footprint, which I think is counter to what everybody would rather have it step more down the hillside and crawl down the hillside a little bit more. So what we've done in response is we had a separate, we had a garage, and then we had a separate stair that went all the way down into the living space within the garage. So what we've done in order to accommodate this change, we've created essentially an entry vestibule feature. So people would come in through the front door or from a doorway from the garage, and then enter the house down a set of stairs. So this would have a little bit of there'd be an opening here looking down into the great room below. That move has allowed us to really take this line and push it up the hill as much as possible in order to meet the height ordinance. So this line is this line as well. So it stacks fairly well over this portion. If we go to the elevations, please. There we go. So if we zoom in on number 1, this is really what you're going to be seeing from the street. We did go to a flat parapet on the garage there. And there's a couple steps down to the entry, a landing for the entry. And then you would continue down into the kind of great room level as well. So it's really kind of a split floor plan now at the entry. If we could scooch over to the rear elevation. So this is what you would be looking at down below. So a nice slope metal roof is still part of the plan. All the materials are the same as what you saw before. This would have a horizontal siding on it and probably a muted darker color plaster on the base. We have a deck up above here, and then the supports for that deck and a little deck below here as well. Go to the side elevation now. So this is where I can try and explain the issue that we're up against. So because of the hillside, we have to fit the entire house and that the confusion came from where do we take that bottom measurement from? So what planning staff has come back and said is that you have to take the measurement from the worst case, from where your house hits grade at the base. So, and then to your uppermost point in the project. So on this elevation, it forced us to pull this line back. Previously, we had it stepped out a little bit, and then there was another step down to try and mitigate the kind of the vertical sense of this. But in order to follow the rules, we had to take all of this understory and pull it back underneath the house. So there's a little bit more almost sort of partial basement back here now, but there's less construction moving down the hill. So the other result of this is that it has reduced the size of the house. I believe this one was reduced by 50 or more square feet to accommodate this. We could go to the other side there, other way. Oh, there we go. This side, based on the existing topography, wasn't as difficult to deal with. We had a little bit different slope profile there, but you can see the garage here. So this mass juxtaposed with this metal roof, sloped metal roof, and our siding, etc. So we're able to meet the ordinance and maintain for the most part, the bulk of the aesthetics that we had previous. If we could go zoom out, we've got a few conceptual level renderings. If we can scroll back up, I believe in the set. There we go. So we have, this one we looked at previously. This project is right here. From the street, we're kind of seeing both of our projects here. You see the parcel 2 garage down here, and then parcel 1 garage is up here. And then from below, obviously, there's a lot of trees and landscape in there, so it's difficult to say what the view might be from down here, but we approximated it with the camera and looked up at the design, and this is really what's visible from that location. Obviously, this is a private driveway shared by these 3 houses. Palomino Street is much further down here, and I don't know if everybody got a chance to drive it. You really don't catch much of the story poles except for maybe the top corner of this lot in a couple locations as you're driving towards it on Palomino. So I don't know that it's particularly visible from below on a public street. I'll leave it there and take questions.
Some of the comments, let's see, it's like slope and grading analysis. You have 3D renderings, adjacent development on plans. Can you speak to some of those?
Well, if we go to the survey or the story pole plan, even there's, we don't have adjacent development other than down slope here. And we really, can't really locate that on this plan without going on their property.
Okay, good.
But I think if you go back up a sheet, two sheets to this exhibit,
yeah,
you can see where this house is. It kind of sort of in between these 2 parcels. This house, parcel 1, is kind of biased northward from this particular house.
Okay.
Parcel 2 is there. So neither of these is sort of directly on top of that.
Yeah, that's helpful. And then are these blank lots on either side?
This is an empty lot currently. And this area, I believe, is part of this property here. This driveway goes to a private driveway roughly there. And then it serves a couple of houses back here.
Okay, so the only vacant lot in this
Yeah.
zone is just right here.
Correct.
And then landscape plan, is that in the works? Or are you just focusing on?
It's forthcoming. We want to nail down the footprint and make sure we're in a good spot before we kick that into gear. But
All right, anything else? Share?
That's
Okay, thank you. Questions from the board?
I got a question. Yeah, on the garage roof, there was like an angle in the story poles. Is it show correctly or did you see you change that? Did you have something that changed or what was the story?
yeah, so I think there's some confusion. That tall pole is right here,
Yes.
and the accurate poles were the other three there. I think there was some confusion on whether this was a sloped roof or not.
Yeah, there were
It's a flat, right.
So the story, so that pole is incorrect and
This one pole is incorrect, yeah.
so it's much lower than the reality.
And so the flags going up don't really do that at all.
No.
You should help the story pole guy. It didn't help you much there.
It was a little bit of a scramble to get this all together with our last minute changes to the design and trying to meet the deadlines to get poles up before this meeting. So I think what's there now, everything else is accurate. That particular pole is just wasn't updated.
So I think the garage roof is shown differently in drawings. So
This is
that roof to the parapet, is that correct?
This is a parapet roof over the garage. The rendered site plan still shows the sloped roof.
Another question, I know you went through this before, but I forgot. Can you go through the materials, a little bit more details? You go to the elevations.
Sure.
Yeah, just below one. No, yeah, any one of them.
Okay, so we have a plaster finish on the garage volume. And then if we step down, we have a horizontal siding. And that wraps around the upper level essentially. So you can see it continuing all the way across. As well as on this side here. The lower story is going to be a darker color plaster. So that'll recede away. And that also wraps around that lower story. It kind of continuing down here across.
Is that cable rail and the railings?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions?
Yeah, I have a question about how you were describing what you were planning on the heights.
Mhm.
And I guess you have other images where you're showing that kind of window going down the hill, but you're not showing that here.
Yeah.
So
it's sort of when you take the existing grade and you map that and then raise it up to the height limit, that's a little misleading. That doesn't actually give you a project that fits within the hillside height limit, because it depends on how you. So if we scroll down,
well, don't you take that profile across different parts of the building and then it does different things as it cuts across?
you would hope so, but what we've been told is that no, you have to take your worst case and describe that on the elevations, and that's your height limit.
We're taking the worst case at the lowest point and then.
And the
So
height.
this is Alex. Maybe I could try to explain. So in a ridgeline situation, you're subject to two separate height restrictions. One is the vertical height at any single point, which is your 25 feet. And that's where you show sort of the parallel height limit that runs along the slope.
Right.
And then the second requirement is you take a measurement from the lowest point where the structure meets the grade to the highest point as it steps down a slope. And that is subject to a low to the bottom point to the highest point is subject to a 32-foot height limit for basically a stepped structure.
Wouldn't that be?
And
Is.
And so that's the issue here, is that it met the 25-foot height at any single point, but the prior design exceeded the 32-foot height limit from lowest point to highest point.
But your dimension line doesn't seem like it's going to the lowest.
Right, if we could scroll up a little bit here, let's see, where do we, or down, sorry. Well, what we're showing is, yeah. So what we've done, this dimension, of course, doesn't really help us, but if we go over to this, we verified that this point is our lowest point based on this side over here, and then the garage is our highest point. So
from this point to that point is the 32.
So that has required us to, the downfall of that is that you can't spread your project down the hillside.
Right.
You have to pull it so the footprint is tighter, which I don't think was the intent of the ordinance, but
Well, actually, it was the intent, because when you view a structure from below, you don't appreciate the fact that it's stepped. So there is a limit to how much, while stepping is encouraged, there's a limit to how much you can do that. So it doesn't just keep stepping.
I guess, but in this case, it's resulted in a less stepping.
Okay.
One other question, did that comment provide slope and grading analysis?
Well, we've done that with the planning department. They have our slope analysis showing the everything.
And you have grading quantities and kind of a preliminary, so.
We don't have, I mean, this is going to be a caisson project, so the grading is going to be fairly minimal because of that.
Although you're bunkered in, right? Or
Yeah.
Well,
There.
the project description, it
It
was
has some-
lots of fill.
Yeah.
64 cubic yards of cut and 1,000 of fill. I don't know if that's still accurate, or is that from the old?
And we don't know, the fill numbers could be done differently. We could use different systems to create that, to fill that volume. That's it. We're not there yet. We don't have a civil plan on this yet.
Okay.
I just have one question. When did your square footage change when you had to pull it in, and what was that change?
On this lot, it was, the change was 50 square feet. Not a huge amount, but
And then one of the other comments, I didn't do this very well, about, size, bulk, and scale should be further reduced, was a concern of some members. So I guess that happened as a result of the height study, kind of.
yeah, I mean, certainly the height was reduced overall.
So there are other ways that you took that comment to heart and tried for some reductions. I mean, 50 square feet of reduction isn't much.
Well, I guess I would say that we don't feel the scale of these houses out of touch with the neighborhood. You can look, when you were there today, you can look around and see houses that are similar size. And this is, we're not looking at, giant plate heights. These are all very minimal plates. Yeah, and I think if you want to go to that 3D rendering, you can see the result.
Actually, can we just go to the site plan too? I kind of want to see what, there we go.
Is your square footage, the 3981, does it include the garage?
Yes,
How big is the garage?
it's
David,
400.
David, can you zoom in a little more?
That's down here somewhere. If we want to scroll up,
So the house itself is like 33.
it's broken down on the area calculations. If we could go to that.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Okay, public comment. We have several speaker slips here. No attendees online. So it looks like we'll be limited to whoever's in the room. And we each have 2 minutes to comment. And I assume that most of these comments are regarding sort of both projects. So you're welcome to speak twice, but just keep in mind the time frame here. And also be aware that, you know, we are an aesthetic board. We're looking at mass, bulk, and scale, and sort of compatibility with the neighborhood. So issues like, you know, what happens with the grading and during construction, trucks and all that, we're not really, it's not really our purview. So with that said, let's begin. As I mentioned, 2 minutes each. Adrian Self. Oh, wait. Oh, you got it. Okay.
Thanks for coming out today. I really appreciate it. I live at 2620 Montrose. I see the profile of these big buildings, as I would call it, from pretty much everywhere in my house and yard. The pictures on the plans look really nice, honestly. From the story poles I look at out the window, I'm having a hard time reconciling these. I feel that the scale is out of touch. I know they disagree there. Nowhere else in the canyon views do I see houses so close with so little green space. Normally you have a bit of a yard, even if there's big houses. The scale is just out of proportion to me. It seems like they're coming down the whole hillside. We had talked about that with Tyler earlier today. Oh, Taylor, sorry. And he said that he agreed that he didn't want to be sprawling down the hillside, which is, I guess, my main complaint. When you look at it from where I am, it is not nestled into the hillside. It is protruding like two giant thumbs. And they push the property boundaries real close. It's going to make it hard for any sort of planting to go there. There's already some established greenery and trees that look like they're going to be cut down. It just doesn't seem like a 3,500 square foot house for 3 bedrooms times 2 fits in with the scale of the property. And I'd like to know a little more about their planting. I'd like to know about how much green space I'm going to see, because right now all I see is giant structures going up in what used to be a really nice dark area that illuminated the sky. I'm also concerned about the light pollution at night from 2 large buildings that are overlooking this canyon. We're not building on a regular street, like the views from everywhere are different. And I'm concerned that, again, on these plans, although they were asked, you're not seeing the properties that are next to them, because they're really, really close to the property lines. Nowhere else is that seen there. That's about it.
And just to clarify, your house is which one? We're right in here, right?
And
We can zoom in, David.
yeah, that right there. It's next to Ginny's.
We can zoom in a little bit, David. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Michelson. 2 minutes.
Okay, just, you could pull that one back up. That's the public view from Montrose Place. And I know that in the Mission Canyon plan, oh, hi, I'm Amy Michelson. Thank you for coming today. It was actually fun. It was really nice to have you. So yeah, this is from 2624 Montrose Place. There is visibility from the street. So I know you saw that this morning. And then the other picture, David, would be the collage that I sent. I think that's the best one. I mean, we're really saying the same thing that we've been saying from the very beginning, which is to please scale down these houses to be compatible with the neighborhood. And yes, of course, whichever way you look at it, you can say, oh, well, the houses are close together. I think you saw when you came to our deck, the top picture, there are a lot of large homes, but they are nicely spaced and there is green space around them. And then below here, you see the story poles. And again, the fact that they're built so close together, and you're kind of looking at 8,000 square feet of mass and bulk and structure, which I mean, do you see anything like that up there? Because I don't. And again, according to the Mission Canyon plan, structures shall not be sited, designed or scaled to be incompatible with neighborhood character, and we will protect visual resources. So it's just the same thing. And again, I agree with you that 50 square feet is not much of a reduction. All we have asked from the beginning is that we're not anti-build, just please scale it down so that it's not so obtrusive and massive. And I also am very concerned about all the light pouring out of the windows into the dark canyon. And I thank you for your consideration and happy holidays. Thanks.
Thank you. Gerald Golden.
Just a quick question, because we don't want to reiterate. what
You have to
someone else
maybe,
said.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't need to repeat. I think we understand.
Hi, I'm Joel Golden and I live at 2626 Montrose Place. And what I was going to just reiterate is exactly what Amy said, because that is also our concerns. And it's really looking at these two fairly large structures. It's just the proximity, because you're just looking at 8,000 square feet versus, if it was a 4,001, foot structure and that was it, it'd be fine. It's just too much. And I will stop with that.
Okay, thank you. Kathleen Remy.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Remy. Thanks for coming out. My home is the one where you, it's there.
It's not the microphone. You just have to project a little more, I think.
Okay, my mask off. My name is Kathleen Remy. My home is on Palomino, and in fact, you do see the story poles, not only from Palomino, but from Canyon. If you took a ride up Palomino and it swings around, there's many homes that actually look right at it, but it's not, you'd have to go further than just at the bottom of Palomino Road. You need to kind of swing around to the other side. That was one thing. The other is, again, the scale. I do want to second, I guess you could say, what they have been saying about size and scale. It feels like there's going to be a huge cement wall basically behind my house. I'm mostly concerned about slides, and because it is a historical slide area. I do have photos here of what has happened in the past with slides. I also have a photo of that particular lot before they cut down the eucalyptus trees. There was a large grove of eucalyptus trees with monarch butterflies, with nest for red hawk tails. They were all kind of severed, and only a couple left. And I don't believe there was any permission or any part of any concern about it. It was just done. And that was one part of it. And I'm wondering if I can show you these pictures.
We can pass them down.
Where would you like them to go? Okay. This is one that shows the grove. And these are the slides that have happened. That is from Edgemont right down my house, right there. That's all sliding. And then it goes from, that's even all the way to Bottle of Palomino. So the slide came from the slides came from the top of Edgemont, came down to Palomino Road, all the way past my house, all the way down to Palomino Road. We've also had a boulder that came down from Edgemont and crashed our boat motor. We've had another boulder on the other side that came down and hit one of the structures of our home and left a big mark in our house. We needed a big hole. We had to have that all repaired. These are just like normal things that have happened in the last couple of years with regards to the boulders and such. But so I'm very concerned. I know you said it's not the forum for that, but I am concerned about safety, water mitigation, debris flow, and size and scale. And even if the retaining wall area could be broken up a little, maybe with some stone or something to make it look a little more warm instead of that stucco industrial look.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sherilyn Milton.
Hi, Sherilyn Milton, 2622 Montrose. Some of you are on my deck.
And thank you for coming today. We really appreciate it. I'm going to be saying some of the same things, but in this, I'm a general contractor, a designer, yoga instructor, black belt, all those things. I do lots of different things. And I'm pro building. I'm pro construction. But in this case, size matters, and it's too big. It's just too big for what we have to look at. And also, according to the Mission Canyon Association Plan Policy VIS MC2, the nighttime sky of Mission Canyon shall be protected from excessive and unnecessary light associated with new development. This is new development, and there's going to be a lot of light. Thank you for your.
Thank you. Ginny Walliver.
Actually, I'm gonna pass. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kevin Snow, last speaker.
Hello, my name's Kevin Snow. I'm a member of Mission Canyon Association, and I did serve on the Mission Canyon Area Planning Committee. That was a 3-year and then extended to 5-year project to come up with the plan as well as the design guidelines. And I just feel that you said it accurately in the beginning, that this is an aesthetic issue, and that the effort that went into creating the design guidelines was exactly to prevent this sort of assault on an existing neighborhood, which I feel these two buildings represent. Not to say that they perhaps shouldn't be built, but you have a design issue. The architecture of these buildings set on the hillside as they are set does not add anything to the neighborhood. It simply creates a place to live, but it doesn't amplify or encourage a sense of feeling and being in that particular neighborhood. So I really feel that the design issues here need to be more carefully addressed, and I hope that some solution can be done that satisfies the neighbors better than the existing one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for comments. Start down at the end, Ms. Trosher.
Well, site visits are always very
Oh, yeah, sorry.
illustrative, and I think I come away from it sense that you need to get more space between the two buildings so that you can get more greenery. So they do need to reduce in size. And also, can you bring up the elevations? I think you need to look for more ways to soften the buildings still, and in the interest of light spillage, I think there needs to be more overhangs on the the view that looks out into the canyon. So more ways that, particularly elevation 2, the front piece that comes forward really doesn't have any deck or porch roof or anything to break up the front facade. And even the deck on the right side doesn't have that much of an overhang. And I think overhangs or additional roof lines or decks can help create shadows and alleviate some of the problems with light spillage. And, you know, I know that it's very low profile from the street, but that's not really what the issue is here. Clearly, it's in the canyon, and yes, there's a lot of private views, but there are public views too. So we're looking at it in the context of a public view setting of a big canyon that is viewed from a lot of different places. So I think that particularly what would help the massiveness of the two buildings together would be to break down. They're both right on their side yard setbacks. So I think they need to pull in and have more undulation of the side walls, more space for landscaping, and more ways to introduce more screening around the buildings.
Board member Peugeot.
Okay, yeah, well, from the street, I appreciate the fact that that story pole was incorrect because it seemed like it was blocking unnecessarily blocking some views. And I'm glad that it's really, you're going with a flat roof. I think that works well. What I hear, I tend to agree with the comment about the space between the houses. It seems like it does look especially from across the canyon, I'll speak louder then. That it does look like one house. So somehow, and I think that's where your landscaping comes in. I know you have very little space. I'm not sure how much you're going to deal with trees and with the fire department and so forth. But I think that's where your landscape you gotta really work hard just to do that, or at least to create more space for that landscape to work. So that's one, the space between the houses. I tend to agree with the comment about the window lighting spill. And usually it's handled with overhangs or some kind of a extended overhangs or some kind of a technique like that. And as far as austerity, maybe the use of stone, usually stone is used like in the lower, in the lower levels. Maybe that might work. I don't know how much is going to be covered with landscaping, so you don't want to waste money in things that you would not like to see. But maybe a stone veneer could work well on the lower part of some portions of the lower part to anchor the house. Overall, I would say that the mass Vulcan scale does not seem excessive. The fact that you are pulling back the footprint will work also well for you in terms of the caissons. You're going to have less caissons. I mean, it makes sense in this type of situations to stack spaces up, because that's the structurally that's what's going to work. That would make sense. So those are my comments. I think this project is going in the right direction. I think the landscape is going to be an important element because the view is from a distance. So you're going to have to deal with the fire department and also with your client's interest in having an open view of, I'm sure they want an open view of the canyon, but we would like something else too. Those are my comments.
Member Berdiak?
Well, I think those comments are well taken. I think, one of the main problems is the buildings are too close together and will appear as one massive building. I don't know how you would solve that, but maybe landscaping or try to increase the space between the buildings. I think that in general, the elevations look good. I think they're responding well to breaking up the mass, with undulation and so I think that's a positive point. I think the garage seems a little brutal. Maybe you could, some of that horizontal siding on it, or somehow soften that appearance. And well, those would be my comments.
Good. Ms. Grubb?
I agree that I think the project's heading in the right direction, and that what struck me at the site visit was the proximity between the two structures. I think it can be landscaping, but I also think with that slope, it's going to be hard to get mature trees down there. So I would look closely at how large screening trees are going to be able to get down that slope. As your landscape architect starts to develop their plan, he's thinking the best buffer you can give the neighbors or the concerns of the neighborhood. It's going to be in that lower corner, and so you'll have some constraints. But I would recommend having as large screening trees down there. I do think it felt to me that the next item that nestled into the grade to the slope a little bit more. The parcel we're looking at right now seems to protrude, I guess, more prominent on the site than the other. So I don't know if there's any way to, I think if you were gonna pull one of the structures away from the property line, it would be the east side of this house if you were gonna create more separation. The other one felt like it nestled into the slope better, so.
Can we put that in the site plan again?
Overall, I think the flat roof on the garage has made a huge
Well,
beneficial impact on both properties.
Okay, Mr. Richards.
Yeah, so I think this is a good image that kind of captures the character of the neighborhood and how the two homes fit into it. If you look at the larger home that's right on the sheet, I mean, that house to me almost fits about the same footprint of the two proposed homes. So in that sense, when I was viewing it from the other homes that are kind of across the canyon, and we had to like loop around there to take a look at it. That home that I was just referencing that's on the other side of Edge Mound, I mean, that house is pretty prominent in a similar fashion as to how these two proposed homes are. So I think that you're reading these two proposed homes as being one mass, but the reality is that there's going to ideally be some planting between the two that helps to break them up. So I think that's what other board members are identifying, that we need to see that in the future landscape plan. That's really going to help to, you know, make the case of why these two homes will read as two homes and not one home. But in the sense of this neighborhood, I mean, if you look down on this sheet for the, you know, the site map here, look at how close the other homes are that, you know, we were visiting today and looking across to view the, you know, the subject properties. And so I don't think that the two proposed homes are out of character with what's going on here. And, you know, there's a vacant lot there that probably in the future is going to have a home on it that's, you know, somebody's going to want to have, you know, as large of a home as they can, probably right up to the setbacks as well. So this is just kind of the character of these lots, and it's kind of a classic situation of having vacant lots where people appreciate it as green space, but somebody has a right to develop it. So, you know, the board here, I think, is trying to see that it's done in a sensible way. And so I think generally what is being proposed here is acceptable. And I think that the landscape plan will really help to defend the case of how this isn't one big mass. Right now, I think it might be kind of mistakenly read that way by the way that the story poles are there without any context of planting around it. So I look forward to seeing the landscape plan. I think the landscape plan needs to have a strong emphasis on slope stabilization, because we visited the neighbor there and they're concerned about that. So I would encourage the applicant to have a discussion with that downhill neighbor and figure out, you know, what is the best strategy to get water from those two properties down through that property. I mean, they've demonstrated they've got a problem with it. So it might be good to get an engineer and coordinate it all together as a team, because, you know, these homes are going to be funneling water that way. And then, you know, like everybody else has brought up, we would like to see screening between the two homes to help break up the massing of it. So those are my comments.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair Bloomer.
I don't have anything really different to add than what I've heard, but I'll reiterate my comment from before and my kind of general weighing in on this. I think the mass bulk and scale are appropriate to the neighborhood. Size and sighting, I think, have been mitigated as best as they can be to accommodate, you know, the slope and the issues that have been discussed. I really am in favor of any kind of landscape screening that is typical on the hillsides around there. A lot of the homes are well screened through good landscaping. These are kind of, they're not denuded lots, but they have some vegetation on them, but probably not enough to fit into the current status quo. But maybe I would consider some soft retaining walls using geonetting to secure them, but to help create some flat areas down below that can encourage something other than large trees, because I think that's a bit difficult. I also, saying that, I mean, considerate of the fact that there's a high fire zone there and there's rules around what you can and can't do in terms of planting near buildings. Most of the houses in the neighborhood are in total violation of that. But this house will have to be approved inside of those regulations, and the fire department will certainly weigh in on that if it goes forward. So I'm not sure, but I think a fire-wise type planting plan is the most appropriate, obviously. So still, I think I would agree with John. I still think the little garage element, I know it's tucked down below, but it just, it needs a little bit more character. Maybe a minor trellis over the door, or do something. Maybe it's, I think the potted plant there in the rendering looks nice. So maybe making sure there's space for something attractive to happen down there. So it's not just a blank wall facing the street. And I appreciate the material choices. I like the softer, darker colors. I think some of the adjustments to the architecture are moving in the right direction as well. I'm not concerned about light spillage. There's nothing different about this house than any other house. I don't see any lights pointed up into the sky. It's just a house with normal windows and normal light levels. I assume doesn't appear to have anything, but we'll continue to look at the plans that come forward and make sure there's not any excessive lighting being planned on the project. But based on the current presentation, I don't see any sign of that that's different than what's normal. So
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I generally agree with most of the comments made. I would caution, because of the high fire condition, you're not going to be able to just plant a bunch of things in between the houses. So that's not really the solution, unless, I mean, maybe some big euphorbias that, but still, I think you do need to maybe pull them away from each other a little bit. But other than that, I don't have anything else to add. I think you maybe did yourself a disservice almost by bringing both projects in together. But that's the way it goes, and for I guess the neighborhood, it's actually a good thing that we're seeing them together. So I'd encourage you to just heed the comments here, but I don't have much else to add. We will look forward to seeing a landscape plan the next time, and I assume you'll start on some civil work also, because we do want to see what's happening with grading and such. And as far as existing vegetation on the site, there's a lot of weed species and a lot of things you actually probably want to take out. So what goes back in there should really take into account the slope stabilization and fire, of course. So we'll look for that next time. How does the board feel about returning for further conceptual / prelim? Make sense?
I'd like to add one comment. You might consider using the wood siding on the garage door to soften that blank wall.
All right. Very good. Thank you. We'll see you next time on this one. And now it's next time. Item number 2, Tatman New Residence B. Request of Kevin Moore, agent for Taylor Tatman, for further conceptual new residence with an attached 2-car garage totaling 3,800 square feet and 96 linear feet of retaining walls on a vacant parcel at 1181 Edgemount Drive. Last heard November 4th. And basically the comments are pretty much the same. The only difference here is this one actually said provide a landscape plan, which the other one should have. And then there's also a comment about provide arborist report if impacting oak trees. So maybe you can let us know what's happening, because I know we did see at least one oak on that property. Otherwise, all the comments are the same. And so I'll just turn it over to you, Kevin, when you're ready.
Sure thing. Thanks, Kevin Moore, architect for the owner, here with Mr. Tatman, owner. As far as the arborist report, that's been submitted to the planner and I believe accepted. So there's any issues left with that.
What was the result of that? Was there a mitigation?
No, there weren't, other than cutting the eucalyptus trees down, which we did. So he explored it for nesting and all of that, and his recommendation was to remove the eucalyptus trees. As everybody knows, high fire, they explode, they're full of fuel.
So the trees that are there are undersized.
Yeah, he addressed the oaks, but the oaks weren't. We were cutting down the ukes, and then the oaks were identified and measured and all that, and no impact.
Okay, so if we can next time just bring that arborist report, because I don't think it was in our folder. I don't know why, but
Problem.
Okay, so we're looking at the parcel 2, which is this house here. We've discussed a lot about the overall neighborhood perception and how it fits in. But based on what I heard, some of the questions and comments, I think it's important to look at the differences between these two houses and discuss how we feel that they will appear to be separate structures. So first of all, if we go to the site plans, thank you. You can see that, the lot we just looked at, it kind of looks more up the hillside slope, whereas this parcel is directed more down the canyon, kind of looks out towards UCSB a little bit more. And while yes, there is a portion of this property or this project that is on the setback line, this house over here touches the setback line twice and then immediately, pulls away from that line. So, this is I believe this is a 9-foot setback, and this is an 8 foot on this side and 9 foot on this side. So the result is, there is a pinch point, but it opens up pretty quickly in both directions. So I don't think, even if you were to be looking at it from one of these other houses on the ridge, which, as you pointed out, are similarly dense, I don't think you're going to be perceiving these two houses as a single structure. They're also different designs. This has, shed roofs with a flat roof. This has, multi-slope roof. This is going to read completely differently. And they're actually at, this is actually feels much shorter. I think as you saw the story poles, this parcel 2 feels much shorter than parcel 1. So my personal appear different. We're going to do our best to get landscape screening in the appropriate places to try and emphasize that. We know we're not going to be able to get trees kind of jammed in here in between, but we're going to be able to get some trees along this side and down below here to help soften that view from below, as well as from across the canyon from the houses that are along the ridge line over here. So if we could go to the floor plans, please. So we had to tackle the same issues with the height, the 2 height rules as we did on the other parcel. We did it in a similar way, but so we still have the driveway and the garage. And what we did is we created that entry vestibule here. You do have to come down a more significant set of stairs to get down into the great room. And then those same stairs continue down to the lowest level where the bedrooms are. This house actually got about 200 square feet smaller. Some of that was from the garage and some of that was from the downslope portion of the house down here. But everything had to slide up the sheet to accommodate the height limit. So if we go to elevations, similar, well, not similar, the same materials that were proposed last time. Same kind of volumetric breakdown where we have the garage with its shed roof. You see it there. We have our new entry element, which has that same shed roof, same slope, but it has a wood siding material to juxtapose with that garage material. And then we still have our flat roof over the living space with the little deck off of that. And then if we scroll down a little bit, we have the other elevation, which remained fairly similar to what you saw last time. We have our garage volume. We have a bit of the kitchen volume here with that shed roof with vertical siding. And then we have this volume over the bedrooms below, which also is a little deck off of the dining area. So overall, not much has changed. We do have this, you know, a fairly healthy overhang there. We have this overhang over the lower story here created by the deck. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay, very good, thank you. Questions from the board?
Yeah, good question. We talk about making materials darker at the lower level. Have you done that or what's it going?
Well, so the stucco in general is, we're thinking, going to be a darker shade anyway.
Shade of gray?
Gray, yeah, like probably a little bit more of an earth tone to it though. So not just a dark gray, but something that has a little something in the back. Something that'll play well with the siding color, I think is important.
Also, there was a question about the garage elevation appears start from street view. Have you done something about it, or are you planning to do something about it?
If we could scroll up on the sheet.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that one seems. Are you still thinking about it, or what?
Well, I appreciate the comment. I think the intent with the garage volume is that we need something to act as a foil against the wood, the vertical wood.
Mm-hmm.
So the mass of the garage and that stucco mass does that for us, in our opinion. I think we can definitely have a landscape pocket here to help, you know, have a feature planting there to help soften this area.
Okay.
But I think this is an important part of the design, especially as you see it. We scroll down again, sorry. As we see it turn the corner, we need it to be that different material so that this plays well with it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, other questions? Can you speak to the difference in color and materiality between the two homes?
Well, we're anticipating this home to be more of an earth tone, darker stucco. The siding is going to be more of a natural wood color. The other parcel is going to have a different siding. It's a horizontal siding. There's more of it. It's going to have a different color. It's probably going to be a little bit lighter color.
And that must, I mean, as far as high fire goes, is that
It's a
product?
Yeah, it'll be a hardy panel, hardy siding product of some sort. Also, the roof line of the other parcel is, you know, dominated by the metal roof, and that's going to have a strong read against, you know, what this style of roof is.
And same cable rail for this?
It might be a welded rod rail, so
David,
different.
zoom in a little on the elevations.
Okay, so I think you see what I'm hinting at. But is there any other questions from the board?
I will point out that the windows are different now. Previously, they had kind of a similar breakup in style to them. So that has been updated.
Great. Public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this item? If so, I see 3 hands go up. If you haven't filled out a speaker slip, they're at the back and you can just hand it to David. Otherwise, when you do come up, go ahead and state your name for the record because I don't remember who's who exactly. David, do we need a speaker slip for each? A lot of people wrote A and B. Okay, yeah. Okay, so 2 minutes.
Okay,
when you're ready.
yes. Hi, Amy Michelson, 2624 Montrose Place. I just, thank you again. And I just wanted to restate, actually, David, could you pull up the picture of the story poles from our deck? From our perspective and the whole rest of the canyon, the bulk and scale does appear massive. And we did do a study of the footage between the houses on Montrose. They are all 30 feet apart. They are not 17 feet apart as, no, actually the head-on one. So I think that's important, although when you see the aerial view, yeah. So these homes are, I think, 16 or 17 feet apart, which is an issue. And as you said, you can't get trees down there. But although the Montrose homes may look the same in the photograph, we can actually email you that information. I don't have it with me. The other homes have 30 feet of defensible space in between them. So there is a difference. And as far as the oak trees, I believe they need to be 6 inches in circumference, 4 feet from the ground. And there are a couple that are, just saying, that are within the footprint of the home. So basically it's just, I still feel that the mass, bulk, and scale is not congruent to the neighborhood, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Adrienne, back again. Just a few things I'd like to capitalize on. This is actually the view from my property. I have a hard time distinguishing the two. They said that they'd be 2 separate structures. From the story poles in my house, it looks like a giant circus tent. So I'm sure there'll be different building materials, but the truth is that there'll be structures where all those flags are, and it's huge. It's 8,000 square feet of structure. Secondly, as the architect said with this plan, quote, overall, not much has changed. So I'm a little upset there. I was hoping for a little reduction or something to be more appropriate with the neighborhood. Again, you're pushed out all the way to the boundaries of the property line. If you had a smaller house, you'd have a lot more room to work with landscaping or these egresses and stuff. And lastly, the empty lot that you guys keep referring to next to is actually a functional orchard that belongs to Ginny's property. I don't know that she has intentions of selling it, but it's kind of sad for me, who moved into an environment with such rural charm, that the planning vision of some people is that open space needs to be built upon. Like, that's what makes Santa Barbara so lovely and not LA, is that we do have swaths of green here on our hillside. So again, just because it's an open lot doesn't mean it should have a building on it eventually. The greenery is so nice. That's part of the charm of the canyon. And I just don't see how these 2 projects, the hotel on the hillside, is going to take away or add anything to our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, you can just, David, they're out, so maybe I'm gonna spare anywhere, but it's okay.
I'll be quick. My main concern is soils.
First.
I'm Michael Bailey. I live on 1116 Palomino Road, right next to the Rebbe's and right below these properties here. And my main concern is the stabilization of the hillside and drainage. Drainage is a moving target depending on what kind of building goes on above it. So it's always moving, and the soil is very unstable. Houses are moving. There's cracks in many of the houses that are already been built. And obviously a fire concern. I heard someone mention about wood siding or wood. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me in a high fire area. So That's my main concern, soil stabilization. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else like to speak? Okay, back to the board for comments. Start at the other end, Mr. Richards. Okay, thanks.
So this house has, relative to the other one, it has a smaller footprint relative to the size of the lot. So in that sense, it's less intensive development. So I like the way that it steps down the hill. I think that it's responds in a way that's appropriate to the site. I mean, my comments from the previous proposal, I think, stand that, you know, these two homes are being kind of misrepresented by having two projects with, I think you described it as a circus tent. I mean, right now you're viewing it that way, but you know, the context of two homes that are actually finished with different materials and, you know, landscaping around them, it's going to look like part of the neighborhood, and I'm confident in that in the proposal. So I agree with that. The landscape is going to be important. Also, I think Kevin said he reduced it by 200 square foot. So there was some response to the interest in reducing, you know, the scale of what's going on here. I don't really have much to add.
Okay,
It's good architecture.
oh, thank you, Robert. I do want to, for those in the audience and online, we're nearing our lunch hour, so we probably won't get to, we may get to item 3, but not 4 through 10. So if you're waiting around, it's going to be an hour. So we get back from lunch around 1, or depending when we leave. Okay, so Ms. Grubb, continue with comments, please.
Okay, so I just want to note that this property, I think, presents most of the opportunity for the screening of both houses. So just take advantage of that. Since most of the concerned views are across the, yeah, just more visible from this parcel. I think the architecture of this one fits pretty well into the hillside aesthetically. I like the sloping roofs. The bank of windows on the second story. Maybe it would be useful in the next presentation to see how that's viewed from across that canyon, because I think that bank of windows might present the biggest privacy concern. What? Yeah, it's because essentially that whole corner of the house is windows, then is what I think is facing most of those houses. So maybe a perspective on that, just to clarify how you're going to screen that view from the other side. But other than that, I think this parcel fits pretty well into the side. So.
Okay, Member Berdiak.
Well, I think it's you know, a contrast to the other one and done in a different style. And I think it's he's worked with the proportions and to break up the mass. And I think it's successful in that respect. And I think that's about the only comment I have.
All right, Mr. Pujo.
Can you show the elevation, all the elevations? Yeah. Okay. I agree with those comments. Like on elevation 3, the west. I noticed that you put a lot of shadows, and they look good. They add to the quality of the building. Now, on the first floor, those windows would have to be. I mean, if you recess the windows significantly, or you put some kind of a shade element or something that gets it out of the flat surface, I think that helps. That yeah. You have a very nice touch on the one on the wraparound in the corner. I mean, that's another. It's a very nice design, but I think shadows and work for you, make it a better project. The materials too, I think it could be they could be maybe darker or some other, I think the use of maybe some stone at the very bottom might anchor the house well to the sloping side. But I have I like the style. I like the way it's going. I am somewhat concerned about light spill from the windows going all the way to the floor almost. But I can see how it's a nice architectural statement. So I'm a little bit, I'm not sure how it will come across the canyon or all that glass. I can see that it will be very beautiful on the inside. Also, the look is very interesting, especially when it wraps around the corner. Anyway, I'm supportive of this project in general.
Okay, Member Frosher.
Yeah, I think that what you've done, particularly with the overhang and more decks, are all contributing to helping break the mass and create shadow. I think the overhang could even get bigger, the one that wraps around. And then I was thinking the same thing about on the left side. I don't know if you have thickened walls there to really make those windows read as shadowed as you're showing, but that would help it, or even more overhangs of, extended parapet roofs or eyebrows or things that help break the big glazing. I was concerned about it on the side yard because it's, a straight shot down the side yard setback. But the way you've treated the different materials really is very nice and helps that. But I still would like to see more space for getting some kind of landscape between the buildings, and given all the constraints you have with fire, that's hard to do when you're in this kind of small setback.
Okay, Member Bloomer.
My comment about just addressing the driveway elevation be applied here too, but other than that, I think it's a well-designed home. It steps down the site brilliantly and broken up nicely and massing. I like the use of the form. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the homes designed in Sea Ranch, and some of the stuff we've seen in the hillsides of Santa Barbara over the years, these shed roofs. It's a nice kind of subtle architectural typology that I think looks great. I think, any kind of screening with landscaping that can be achieved, like we discussed before on the previous project, would be appreciated here. Actually looking at the rendering that you produced, kind of show the aerial view. Obviously, it's a drone shot. None of us float around in the sky like that, so it's complete nonsense for this kind of discussion. But it does help you understand how things have been built in the past. We're going to use this as a comparison. Then look at the houses on the right. Thank God we're not having more of that, and appreciate the architect's attempts to avoid that kind of problem that hillside houses always seem to create. So again, I think it's the mass bulk and scale and the appropriateness, the consistency in the neighborhood is good. I certainly understand how new things can be upsetting, but I don't think this is creating the negative precedent. It's actually creating a positive precedent. So more have to do this than not. So, two houses below it, by the way, definitely not trying to hide themselves in any way, shape, or form. Stand out pretty well as well. I guess the hardest part about it is that you can see architecture and buildings. You can't do much about that. So I think the effort to make what we see look nice and appealing is been made here, and I think it's appreciated. generally by this board, we keep hearing that over and over again. So it's good quality architecture.
I don't really have anything to add other than to reiterate, I think that second story corner where you have all glass and all glass, I think that's really the closest to all these folks. And I do worry a little bit about the lantern effect there, but otherwise, I think everything else that I was going to comment on was covered. So we just look again for a landscape plan and civil plans next time, and same here.
One question,
Val, another
what's your
comment?
roof material on the shed?
So we would definitely do some sort of a tan or some muted roof material,
Okay, so it'll be quite different than the next door one as well.
and definitely not bright white.
Right,
But the material is.
but it'll be a PVC.
It'd probably be a PVC.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
if I may add a comment, I think the east elevation, the front elevation needs something. Maybe it's a light fixture, a trellis, some kind of artwork. It is kind of,
Yeah, it
blank.
could be a real simple, heavy timber looking house.
Well,
you know,
both of the garages are the same, right? They're both kind of
in a plaster.
plaster start.
Yeah.
So I think some delineation between, maybe one's like this and the other one does something, but I don't know. Also, actually, one thing I was going to say is on your west elevation, number 3, there's, and I don't know if anything, maybe the architects can comment more, but there's this there's this dividing line right down the middle, and it's like the right side of the house is a different house than the left side. And if you can somehow cross over with some kind of materiality or, you know, lines or something, I guess.
Zoom in on the rendering on that site.
Right.
Home view, please.
Very small.
Zoom in there as much.
I mean, I think the response to that would be,
Hold on.
you're not,
Want a comment from him, right? So zoom in a little more, please. So I just wanted, Chris, you said have the architects chime in on it, so I'm gonna chime in.
Briefly, please.
So, yeah, so look, I think you have to look at this 3-dimensionally, right? It's breaking up the massing, so the horizontality of it, like it's board face, is getting broken up there and step back, and I think that's gonna help camouflage it.
Yeah.
But we did make a comment about the left side and how you have it kind of just sliced and looking at some kind of stepping, and I think I mentioned that in a previous comment, that where you have the material translation on the left side of the building,
it's something.
there was just at least a.
is it like right there?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, on the
No,
left
on
side
the
of the
left.
building.
Oh,
Where
right
it
there.
goes plaster.
Like there
wood,
could be
plaster.
some articulation there to help with that too, but I think that ship sailed. I've made that comment a couple of times. It seemed to be landing, but I don't know if we want to include that, but I
Yeah.
don't know, anybody else?
No, I wouldn't go on that as well.
it is like right there.
Yeah, because it's a flat wall with material changes.
Great. All right. Same return for further concept / preliminary when you're ready again. Alex Tuttle, do you need any clarification on any of the comments?
I didn't quite catch whether I was supposed to make any mention of that materiality issue.
Bloomer?
It's facing another building. So
No.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Thank you all for
Thank you.
coming and allowing us into your homes. We are,
Yeah, this is coming.
yeah, I think we're a little, tired. So we're gonna take a lunch. Sorry, Miss Calvin. I know you've been waiting patiently, but we'll be back here right around 1 o'clock to reconvene, starting with item number 3. Thank you all. See you soon.
Yeah, it's just too much.
And we're out. And we're not out.
Just, double tap the top of it. That's right. Good for you. Go for it.
Okay, so we will now reconvene the SBAR meeting of December 16th, beginning with item number 3, Valencians. That's not right. Anyway, you can tell me. A request of Sophie Calvin, agent for Aaron Valencian, for conceptual review of an addition of 331 square feet to the existing residence, new detached garage of 442 square feet, workshop of 296 square feet, spa, 19-foot fountain, outdoor barbecue area, bocce court, and fire pit. No cut or fill. It's a 1.5 acre parcel at 2700 Holly Road in Mission Canyon. We have the applicant here. Please state
19th
your name.
fountain, as measured.
Hi, Sophie. About 10 minutes, whenever you're ready.
Great. Can you zoom into that aerial?
Yeah.
That I have on the screen? That'd be great. Okay, so the site in question at 2700 Holly Road has a single family residence on there currently. And then I just wanted you to zoom in to see the proximity to the two houses, one to the east, one to the north, east, yep, and west. Great. What we're proposing to do, if we can go to the plan set. Okay, what I am proposing to do is there's two buildings. There's the house remodel with additions and some remodeling of the area inside the house. And then we're proposing a detached 2-car garage with an attached workshop that has a half bath in it. So she's going to use that as like a home office. Okay, so if we can go down to the site plan 18.
Give us a second. We're having technical difficulties.
Okay, sorry.
As is customary. Mute.
Ask Chris. Okay, does that work? Testing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Check 1, 2. Oh boy, let's see all in this last.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
She wants go ahead and advance the set.
Yeah, could you go to okay, so we could start there with the photographs. So this is the primary residence on site. You'll see on the lower 3 pictures or 2 pictures on the lower side, you'll see that she added a trellis leading to the front door. And then the rest of it, it does have this skim coat plaster that was put on recently. And you can see the driveway entrance and you see the length of the building. The roof stays the same. It is a traditional 2-piece mission tile roof that's going to stay. So all the work really happened under the roof lines that currently exist. There were some additions though, because the house was purchased by somebody a number of years ago, and there were 3 areas, and if you can go to the floor plan, you'll see where there were 3 unpermitted additions that we have incorporated now into this project. Site plan. We worked with the fire department on the Hammerhead to get the fire truck in and out. That's the existing floor plan that you're looking at. And the pink represents all the new doors and windows that have been replaced in this structure. Go to the next page. Okay, so now you see the 3 areas that are hatched in blue, says areas of addition. So the front entry was open. If you could, yep, you can see where the trellis is that you're coming into the front door. Oops. Something went over the page there. Okay, so you see above the word remodel, you see where the trellis is, and then you open the door and you go into the front entry. That entry used to be non-conditioned open space. So that was an area of addition. And then you'll see in the living room, that was a covered porch at one time. It's 119 square feet of gross square footage. And then we just incorporated that into the house as an addition. And then if you look to the far side, to the left of the drawing, there's a smaller addition of 30 square feet, which is now part of the master bathroom. Also, you'll see that what is new is that you see the enclosed area. Oh, sorry, go back to the left. Sorry. You see it, there's a tub, bathtub, and there is a CMU block wall, 6-foot high CMU block wall around that. So they have access from the master bathroom to that outdoor private space that has a tub in it. And then directly across from that is a barbecue and a sink for outdoor cooking. And that's new. What we did take off is the bocce court has been removed, and there was a 19-foot long little water, well, a water fountain, and that has been removed from the scope of work. Okay, if we can go to the next page. So the roof line still stays the same. I'm just representing where the additions happen. Next page.
Yeah.
So one thing in the inside, you'll see the blue stripe in the center of the house. That was where the kitchen was located. It was just a really bad location. So the client decided to move it over into the larger space, which was a different room, opening up the living room and creating a sizable, workable kitchen. Next page. So these are the current state of what the doors and windows are that have been installed in this house. You can go down to the next, just scroll down a little bit, you'll see the color board and the light fixture, which are night sky compliant. You'll see in the picture of the house, if you want to go back to the elevation, she has not stained the wood, the color of the doors and windows. So it has that slight difference in color in the color board. There's another set of elevations. You see the barbecue, you see
So these are the proposed elevations, correct? Do you have the existing elevations?
we don't, because the house really, I mean, just the additions did change, but no, I don't have those. All I have is the as-built plan that showed what was.
Okay.
Okay, next page. Well, these are interior elevations. I think I have a couple pages of these.
Don't need that.
And then this is the electrical plan. So you see where the scope of the work really takes place. It's everything pretty much on the left side, which is the master bedroom, bathroom, correct, and the kitchen, because the kitchen got relocated. And then as you walk in the front door, there was a mechanical room and a funky little bathroom. So those two bathrooms, one is a powder room and the other one is a bedroom off the right side bedrooms. This is just a mechanical plumbing plan. I've just started some details. I know we're here for conceptual, but just matching the details that are there. Next. Doors and windows, profiles. Next. So now I'm going to show you the garage. So she really needed a 2-car garage. There was really no parking there, or no covered parking there. So if we can go to the next page, we could show you what we propose to do. So it's a 2-car garage. The colors will still match the main house. You see the section. So the garage is something that they're going to pull in first,